So hopefully by now you have watched the Kente Cloth video that I shared with you. And so now we're gonna make our own weavings with those as inspirations. I have sent home 2 colorful pieces of paper to you. These are our Mustang colors, so I'm gonna go with those. And now you have to decide which one is going to be the warp, which is the stuff that all stays together, and which one's the weft, and that's the one that we're going to cut into strips to be able to weave with. So I'm going to make my gray my warp. So I have to fold this in half, hamburger style, okay? So I'm going to fold it in half as neatly as possible. All right. And now you're either going to use a ruler or you can use the straight edge piece of cardboard that I sent home with you. Okay, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to line it up with the open side. Just line it right up, and you're just going to draw a line all the way down. Okay, now it might be a little hard to see, but it is there. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to line it along the edge this way, and we're going to go from that line that we just drew and go down. Line we just drew and down. And you're going to keep on going. Your line should be fairly straight because our straight edge is going to keep it that way. Now you'll notice I'm going to have like a little piece here. Some of you guys are going to have that, some of you won't. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to erase this one just a little bit, and I'm just going to kind of split this into 3 even spaces. Okay. So I have my paper. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it, okay? Now, I'm not going to go past this line. So I'm going to, while it's still closed, cut, 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 stop. Cut, 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 stop. Cut, 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 stop. Cut, 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 stop. And cut, 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 stop. So when I open it, it's going to look something like this. All right, so now I need the other piece of paper. And this one we're actually going to fold in half hot dog style. So it's nice and tall. And we're just going to take that straight edge and we're just going to go all the way across this time. We're not stopping. We're just going to keep on going. And I'm getting a little crooked here. All right, and I'm good to go. So now, I'm right-handed, so it's going to be easier for me to start on the right side. If you're left-handed, you can start on the left side. But you're just going to cut all the way across so that you end up with strips of this paper. All right, so now here comes the weaving part. So this can get a little tricky, but what you have to do is go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. It's just all the way across, okay? So I'm gonna take one of my strips and I'm gonna start by going over. And so if I'm going over, under, I have to pick this next one up and go under it. Then I'm gonna go over, then I'm gonna go under. And oh, I almost went underneath 2 in a row. So I have to make sure I'm leading that one through. All right. And then my last one, it looks like I'm gonna end up with an under, like this. All right. So you're gonna have an every other gray, blue, gray, blue, gray, blue. Okay. Once it's all lined up and you've pushed it all the way to the edge of your cuts, you are going to take your glue stick and we're gonna glue it in place so that it doesn't move. Remember, we're gonna hold for 10 seconds. All right, and then I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna glue it on this side so that side doesn't move either. And if you're gonna use, you can use a glue bottle instead, just be very careful because you don't want glue going everywhere, okay? So I've got my first strip done, okay? So next I'm gonna show you how to do the next strip. So for this next strip, it's actually going to be opposite the row before. And you're like, but Miss Colbert, you said over under. Yes, but we're starting with an under this time so that it's opposite the row before. Okay, so if I went underneath this one last time, I have to go over it this time. I went over this one, so now I have to go under it. I went under this one, so now I have to go over it. And then you just keep going until it goes like this. So if it was a gray box last time, it's a blue box this time. And now I've got to glue it again. If you're not sure if you're doing it right and you want to wait until the end to glue it, that's okay. But you're just going to want to make sure that your strips don't move around too much. Okay? So I'm going to flip it over. And you don't have to glue every box, just the end too, because that'd be a lot of gluing if you tried to glue every single one of them. All right. And now my next strip is just opposite the one before. So this strip started with an under, so that means this one starts with an over. And then I do under, over, under, over, under. Push it all the way so that they meet. All right. So it's going to match my first strip, but be opposite the second strip. And then I glue again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Flip it over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. I can fit probably at least 2 more strips on here, so I am going to keep weaving until I run out of space. All right, so I'm on my last strip, and it's actually going to be kind of a tight fit. So if yours is a tight fit, what you can do is you can fold it back in half like this, and you can just make it a little bit skinnier. Don't go too skinny, but just enough so that you're able to sneak it through and get your pattern, okay? So I'm going over and then under. This is the hardest one to do. Over. So I'm actually pushing up from the bottom to try to get it underneath here, but I gotta be careful not to push too hard. And then I'm just kind of sneaking it through like that because I don't want to tear it. And then under, oh, there goes my glue stick. All right, so now I just have to glue the 2 ends again. And you're gonna have 2 leftover strips because the papers were the same height before, and we're not putting any strips right here and right here. So once you're done, it'll end up looking sort of like a checkerboard. All right, so if you remember back to the video, Kente cloths have a lot of geometric patterns. So for us, that's gonna be like squares, circles, triangles. So I don't want, like, we're not doing hearts and flowers and emojis, okay? So we also wanna add some color to this because if you remember looking at the at the cloths in the videos, lots of colors going on. So we are gonna start by decorating our top and our bottom border with the same pattern of geometric shapes. So I have to pick, you can pick up to 2 colors for this one. So I am gonna pick, I've got kind of like this purple and this pink that I like, okay? So your pattern, remember, patterns have to repeat. They show repetition. So your pattern could be like circle, square, circle, square, circle, square, or it could be like triangle, triangle, square, triangle, triangle, square. All right? Now, I think I'm going to do a square with an X in it, and then a triangle. A square with an X in it, and then a triangle. Square with an X in it, and then a triangle. And that marker is getting kind of low. Now for my second color, I think what I'm going to do is I am going to color in some of these triangles. And then I think I'm going to put a smaller triangle inside my big triangles. But if I do it to one of them, I have to do it to all of them because I need to keep my pattern. So now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Okay? So square with an X in it, triangle. Square with an X in it, triangle. Square with an X in it, triangle. Go in with my other color, fill in, baby triangle, fill in, baby triangle, fill in, baby triangle. All right, so that's getting us started in terms of patterns. Now we're gonna add patterns to our checkerboard here, to our weft, the stuff that goes back and forth, okay? And you can use the same colors if you want, or you can use completely different colors, that's up to you. I think I'm gonna try a darker purple, see how that one turns out. And you need to pick a row. So like, are you gonna do the rows that start with an over or the rows that start with an under? I am going to do my rows that start with an under, and we're gonna do the color, not the strips, not the warp. So for me, it's gonna be my blue. If you wanna do these ones instead, that's fine. You'll just have more of whatever shape you are choosing to do, okay? So I am actually going to do, I don't think I'm going to do a shape so much as I am going to do some lines that go across. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. I got to do 5 lines on my next one too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm skipping this row down to this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now I need a pattern for my other blue ones. And so since I did a line pattern on this one, I'm going to do a geometric shape instead. So I'm going to do it in blue, I think. And I think I'm going to do, let's see here. You know what? I'm going to do a big square with a little square inside, sort of like I did up here with the triangles. A big square with a little square inside. So remember, geometric shapes are like our shapes that we talk about in math class, okay? They're not big blobs. They're not things that you find out in nature like a leaf or something. They are shapes that we typically have a name for them, like a rectangle or an oval or a hexagon. Good luck drawing a hexagon. If you want to draw a hexagon, feel free. I like to stick with the more basic geometric shapes here. And so I'm just going to go with every blue square on this one. All right. So now we have one more thing that we have to do before we add our fringe on the bottom. And we once again have to pick a row. So I can either do my square rows or my line rows. And I think I'm gonna do my line rows. And we are gonna put one more, like a shape or a pattern or something in there to really make our cloths pop, make them as awesome as possible. So I think I'm gonna do a big X, and then I'm gonna fill in just like I did the other way, except I'm gonna do the opposite triangles. All right, big X, and I'm gonna fill in. Remember, neatness always counts. Do your best. That's all I can ask. I know you guys are pretty awesome, so your best will look pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it. All right. So then I'm going to skip this row, and then I'm going to do this one. So our pattern on our weavings today is going to have lots and lots of different geometric designs. And those things are showing repetition by going over and over and over again, okay? Just like if you go to the store, you'll see a lot of patterns on and repetition on those cloths. Now, I'm almost done here, and then I will show you how to add the fringe on the bottom. All right, so for this last step, we're gonna add a fringe on the bottom just to kind of spice it up a little bit. So you have a smaller piece of paper and we are gonna cut strips into it. Now, the skinnier strips you cut, the more like of a fringe you will have. But we have to make sure that we don't cut all the way off, otherwise we won't have anything to glue it on with. Okay, so once again, I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna start on the right side. If you're left-handed, you can start on the left side. And I'm just gonna go cut, 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 stop. So I'm leaving a good, like an inch or so there. Cut, 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 stop. And your goal, we're doing some more repetition here, is to kind of make them all the same. For our weaving that we will create, we want lots of repetition in this project. Okay, I gotta be careful there, I don't want to cut my finger. All right, so now I have my fringe. So I'm going to flip this over. I am going to put glue across the top here. All right, and then I'm just gonna attach it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now my woven tapestry inspired by Kente Cloth and their geometric and colorful designs is complete.